Hello again, John here, and in this part of the video series I'll be going over how to construct, or how pages are constructed using template files. Before I continue, this is probably the trickiest part of the video series, so if I sound exasperated, it's because I've had to take multiple takes in order to get this right. And that's because of the whole analogy of constructing a page. That's not a very common analogy. We instead think of pages as being something that's written, because that's quite literally what we do. We write pages. And the same is true of a website page. We often make them by writing code. So it's a little bit strange to think of constructing a page, but it's very useful to think about, especially in the context of templates, which we'll get into pretty soon. So yeah, we're constructing pages here, not writing them. And the reason why we're constructing them is because if you were to write out all the different pages of a website, using HTML, using code, what you would quickly find is that as you're writing it out, you're going to see a lot of reusable parts that you're constantly writing over and over again, which gets very tedious, especially with a very large website. So what you could do is, I guess you could just copy and paste the parts that you were using, but as an effective developer, what you want to do is you want to take those reusable parts, kind of compartmentalize them, turn them into a little block, if you will, and reuse that block, kind of insert it into pages of the website every time we need to reference it. And that's what a template is. A template file, a template is a block of reusable code. And so that's what it means to construct a page, is to think about the code not in terms of literal lines of characters, of things that you write down, but rather as blocks that you write down. And so you're writing down these blocks, and on occasion you might notice that you're constantly reusing a block. And so you take that reusable block and turn it into a template. And that's how templates relate to pages. They're blocks of reusable code. Now, I created this little graphic here to kind of explain the most common blocks of templates, the most common blocks of reusable code that we use to construct a page. The outermost block is the layout file. We only have one file here that is an actual layout file, layout master. Think of layout as sort of a foundation, if you will, for the page. It's sort of the template file, the template block that everything else sits on. Next is the actual template file that governs most of the page itself. We only have really one major page template file, but then for more specific use cases, we might take that template file and change it and rename it to something else, like a news page template file, which is very common in other websites. Sometimes we might also have like a specific template for a contact page. But the idea is that you have a layout file, which is the foundation, and then the page file, which you can almost sort of think about as the frame, the sort of skeletal structure of our page. Finally, inside of that, we have partial template files and embed template files. These are pretty much the same, with a few minor differences that can get kind of technical. But really the key takeaway is that page template files, they kind of govern the skeleton of the page, the structure of it. Layout is the foundation. We fill it in with partials and templates. So that's how you construct a page using template files, which template files themselves are constructed using common blocks of HTML code. So rather than thinking in terms of writing pages, think in terms of construction, of reusing things, of blocks. So that's why I'm being when I say we're constructing pages, and this is how we do so, using this crude graphic here. So next in the video series, we'll be going over the layout page, or the layout file rather, the layout file and what's inside it and how it relates to a page. So stay tuned.